I am honored to introduce to you today Kristi Padron from our amazing library.
Well, thank you for the welcome. Today what I'll be talking about are the subject librarians and departmental liaisons that we have at the FAU Libraries. Today's objectives are going to be to define the roles of subject librarians and departmental liaisons. We'll also describe the services they offer to FAU faculty and instructors. And then at the end, I will show how you can identify assistants and contact information for these liaisons and subject librarians and the library services that they offer. And I'm Kristi Padron. I'm an instruction coordinator at the FAU Libraries in the Instruction Engagement Services Department. I've been with FAU for almost 4 years now, well, in this particular incarnation. When I got this presentation prepared, I thought about your needs for teaching, learning, and research, and some of the questions that I've been asked quite a bit since I've been here. One question that we are getting more of is people who are interested in using an OER or an open education resource in place of a textbook for their course instruction. Some people ask us about fair use or following copyright in the course materials, or maybe images that they use on their online instruction. I especially get a lot of questions, especially that my students need to learn about the information sources in their major, and this is everything from communications to education to even chemistry, and we'll talk a bit more about that. And then other things that we've been asked is about the collection. Some people have given us some suggestions for the collection or noticed that we didn't have something that they really wanted to have in the library. So with those kinds of questions in mind, I'm going to present the services that we have to offer. Librarians and liaisons are assigned to work with all of FAU's colleges. We have, I think, is it 22 librarians or 24? I can't remember off the top of my head.
20, I'm not certain either.
Okay, well,
There's a lot of you over there.
There's a lot of us, okay.
Yeah, I think we're actually more like 30
Okay.
within the library.
Okay, all right, so we do have a lot of librarians on our staff and also liaisons who are assigned to work with all of FAU's colleges. And our underlying roles are to understand our departments to which we're assigned to work, and also to collaborate with the assignments and also faculty on various tasks that may involve the library. So there are some distinctions in what the subject librarians do in comparison to the departmental liaisons, and I'll describe what they both do. On the left there, you see my supervisor, Ken Frankel, providing instruction. In this case, this was to a visiting class of students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School who wanted to learn about using the library in a college setting for their advanced placement, debate, and English assignments. So subject librarians do a lot of instruction such as that. We also do some outreach, that is, we will collaborate with various departments as well as offices on campus for different activities, and I'll describe some of those. Our instruction also covers all subjects from A to W, and why W? Well, women's studies are the last area we have on our list. We don't have zoology, so A to W we have at this time.
We love that.
Our subject librarians usually will consist of a primary librarian, that is, who takes the lead in those particular activities, and then a backup librarian who can also be contacted, but they're more like a supportive, like a backup in a way. Then we have the departmental liaisons there on the right. You can see an image of our book stacks here. I think I'd taken this picture from the west wing of the library. So really what departmental liaisons do has a focus on collection development. You can find departmental liaisons on all FAU colleges and campuses, that is the Boca Raton, Jupiter, and Harbor Branch campuses. As far as Broward College goes, you would contact the Broward College librarians for those particular services, but nonetheless, the FAU partner campuses, you would contact us. And for departmental liaisons, it's generally going to be one librarian for each area.
Kristi, I have a question. Are you going to
Okay.
clarify what you mean by collections?
Yes, our collections. I'll be explaining that just a
Okay,
little more.
thank
for
you.
sure. Yes. So just to give you some examples of the activities that subject librarians will do, we provide library instruction as we just demonstrated. We can also create LibGuides and other learning objects. Here on the right, we have an example of a LibGuide that was created for a Latin American Studies course. It's also known as a research guide, and this was created for the Latin American Studies courses. It shows students how to find articles and journals within that particular discipline, as well as some recommended books. Then we have some websites that are available for people with an interest in that area, and then some library tutorials that might help them navigate the library and find the information they need. So that's an example of a LibGuide that I believe Ken Frankel had created for that particular program. He is a subject librarian for that area, so this is an example of something he did for them. Other learning objects also have included some video tutorials as well. I know that one of my colleagues, Lori Rebar, had made a video tutorial for some engineering majors. I believe it was civil. Okay, it was civil engineering majors that she created for I think it was a senior level class.
It was computer science,
Oh,
senior level, yeah.
Okay, so it was a computer science senior level course, and she made a video on that so the students can have some like a refresher or something to look back on, in terms of library instruction. I also created something similar for the nursing program. I created a series of video tutorials that showed students how to navigate the CeL database. Another activity that we often will do is advise faculty instructors on library resources for research or teaching. About 3 weeks ago, I had an instructor who teaches business communication, GEB 3213, come into my office. She was curious about what kind of sources students could use to find information about countries, like for a business intelligence kind of assignment that they had. She wanted them, that is the students, to really get to know how to find official information, credible information sources, not just go on to Google and pick out whatever Wikipedia or the first item, but rather some sources curated and created by professionals and for professional purposes. So we will do that for various subject areas as well. That is, recommend some library sources that could be used for your subject and whatever may work for your syllabus or your assignment. Then a final key activity that we will do is outreach. We have done orientations. My supervisor and I present to the graduate teaching assistants orientations every summer and every, spring. Can't really call it winter here. There's no such thing as winter here, so in Florida. I present to the College of Nursing orientations for their master's and their doctoral programs there. And then we do have a lot of other librarians who've been able to teach or present at orientations. I think someone presented to architecture recently and theater recently and other orientations where we show students how to use the library information sources and familiarize them with the services that we have. Then we've got the tabling in colleges. Every so often we'll set up a little table in your college library with your permission, of course, and we will show the faculty and the students what we have to offer. And I've done it a few times. I've been asked a lot of questions on APA citation because I guess a lot of students had a question about that. I had my iPad with me, so I was able to pull up some sources that they could see direct examples of
Beautiful.
citations. So those would be like our 4 main areas that the subject librarians do. They're in the department called Instruction and Engagement Services. I'm in that department as well. My main areas are going to be, nursing, but I also do a lot of subjects within the College of Science where I work with the instructors and the students and provide instruction and recommend the sources and create learning objects and so forth. Now I'll talk about the departmental liaisons that we have. Their area is more in the collection management department of the library. That has to do with the books that we have in our building. They could be the books we have as well as the electronic books that are available in our collections. It also includes our journals that we subscribe to, our professional journals that we have, our journal packages. Collection management also includes the databases that we have. Some of you have your databases of choice. Business has ABI Inform, Complete. Education has ERIC. Chemistry has SciFinder and so forth. So that collection management oversees that particular area. So what the departmental liaisons do in that regard is they review and identify materials for purchase. We get our reading list from a variety of sources there. Let's see. The liaisons for collections management will often look at book lists. They may look at what's being talked about in the news or the media. We get book lists from publishers, and we also like to solicit requests from students and faculty as well. We want to know what's going to be most useful for them and their particular subject area and assignments.
And that was a question I was going to have, is you have input from faculty members about what things they'd like to have included.
We do have a form that you could request your request books or other items to be purchased as well. Yes. And then another big activity for departmental liaisons is we evaluate the collection. We'll take a look at what's missing, what we have, what's current. For instance, I've had to identify some seminal works in my particular area. When I was in charge of physics a while back, I looked at some old books that were really popular in the physics that we didn't have, and I was able to order them. And I was curious. I wanted to see how they were being borrowed, and they were all checked out. So, and a couple of them were already lost. So, okay, good. But we want to be sure we have the important books and materials for your particular subject area. And then we identify gaps in the collection that we may have. I mean, discipline focuses change. You know, it's pretty, I don't want to call it cyclical, but things kind of come in and come and go. Trends, yeah, that's probably the better word. And then, of course, we have updates. I do the collections for the library science here in the library, and some big updates that I've had to do with the collection was data management, scholarly communications, some digital humanities. These are all very recent trends in the library science profession, so I've had to purchase and find a lot of books in those areas to make sure we have those.
It interests me to know that you also do look at seminal work, and that's important in any field, and I would guess often overlooked.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to know what is the canon, so to speak, in their particular discipline, who were the founding researchers or the theorists and so forth. So yes, that'd be very important for students to know, especially. And that's where the faculty can lend us their expertise, for sure.
Yes.
So you might want to know, how can you get the best use out of your subject librarian and departmental liaison? Well, we have some tips for you that you can follow or use. One of the things we like is to be invited to your departmental meeting. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a long spiel or speech or anything. If we can present on what's happening in the library, maybe ask some questions of the faculty or the department of how they use the services and what they'd like to see, that would be really highly beneficial for having a dialogue between the library and other departments. I think it's good to meet on a mutually agreeable basis, maybe once a semester. It doesn't necessarily have to be too formal. It could be in your office or in the library or even Starbucks, or
Sure.
You could even meet over a beer in the borough there, I think, if you want a burger, if you want to. So yes, I think it'd be a good idea to meet the librarian maybe once a semester.
Right, good plan.
Yes, you could even Skype too. You know, Skype is so much more available here now. And then I think a third way would be to inform the librarian on issues affecting your discipline or department. Scholarly communications is one area. I worked with an instructor who wanted me to tell her students about predatory publishing. This was a professor in the biological sciences area, And she was really concerned that students really didn't know what the difference was. So I was able to come up with some ways to address that with her.
Yeah.
Publishing, if there's been any big changes to your publishing model, I know that they're trying to make data more open. That's one example of an issue affecting your various disciplines. Online open access publishing is another thing. I think my colleagues and I have gotten questions about what is a good open access publisher. Some people were interested in publishing in an open access publisher, but kind of needed, a little more feedback and guidance on all of that. And then other significant changes that may be taking place. So here's how you can utilize your subject librarian. You can request library instruction. We provide about 230 instruction sessions a year to all levels at FAU, as well as all majors and departments. So we're probably not going to turn you down. Chances are very, very low. You can also seek a consultation for materials for teaching and learning. So it could include library materials. It could include open education resources or OERs. So you can consult with the librarian about what could be used in your teaching. You can also communicate your course or discipline's needs. That is, often people will provide their assignment where the students have to use the library or give us their syllabus as well. So this will help us really tailor like our instruction or any other thing that we do for the students to address those main areas. And then we also recommend to attend and be present at the library instruction sessions if you have one of those.
You'd mentioned about obtaining syllabus or an assignment, and that comes in really handy if we have a lot of students coming in, either just walking into the library or requesting a consultation. And if we already know what it is that the professor is looking for, we can be much more effective.
Absolutely, yes. So Lori was just talking about how we're able to use the syllabi or the assignments so that we could advise the students who walk into our office or ask us questions. I see that we have George Grunfeld with us today in our audience. Hello, this is Kristi. And he teaches the Business Communications GEB 3213 course. He teaches a few of those along with his other colleagues. And we're familiar with the 3 or 4 main assignments that they want their students to do. So that way, when they come in, they don't necessarily have to talk to the business librarian, but they can talk to any of us. And we'd have a pretty good idea on what the students will have to do and what information sources they'll need to use as well.
So an assignment may well have at the bottom of it, go to the library and.
Yes. Yeah, and you could do that as well. You can tell your students in your assignment, go see the librarian, go to the library, absolutely, or go to the website.
We have had that where they've had, that was part of the requirement.
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be only face-to-face either. If you're teaching an online course, the students can utilize the library online as well as ask questions through a chat, text, or email services. So they're not just limited to face-to-face as well. Now, here's how you could make the best use of your departmental liaison. So once again, this is going to be the area that focuses on the collections that we have in our library. So one of the top things that we would recommend is to communicate with your liaison regarding requesting and the purchasing of books. Just as all of the other departments on campus are subject to the fiscal year cycle and the budget and so forth, we also follow that as well. We have to spend our money within a certain amount of time, and so that's why we definitely recommend communicating with the liaison with those purchases. And then if anything happens, we could make adjustments, shift gears, whatever might need to be done. Also, you could spread the word about what we do as well, especially in terms of the collections. You can inform your colleagues about collection development as well as other library activities that we have. And we really do this to encourage feedback from you all. We all want to make sure that the library is responding to what the faculty needs for their teaching, their research, and what the students may need as well. So when you tell us that constructive feedback will really, really come in handy, especially in terms of our bigger goals and so forth. And just as a little pitch here, we're going to have the Human Library take place next month. We're going to have people basically be like books. They're going to tell their stories, their story to students. And I think we may have maybe 8 people participate, and students can go to a human book, so to speak. Yes,
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very eye-opening program. You get to hear the experiences of many different people. And also we're going to have open access week this week as well. So we're going to have like a collage people can color in our hallway.
Nice.
We have a lot of exhibits throughout the year as well. So I'm not saying this just to shamelessly market the library necessarily, but just to give a scope of what we do throughout the year. And maybe your students can do it. You can have your students do it, offer them extra credit, what have you. So the possibilities are endless. A third thing that we help with as well, this is going to be more the departmental college level, is going to be assisting with accreditation reports regarding library collections. So your various departments have to go through an accrediting agency or body, of course. I know that the university has SACs. I work with the College of Nursing quite a bit, and they have the American Association of Colleges in Nursing. And they contacted me recently because they wanted particular books in our collection and to be readily available to the students. That was a part of their accreditation, and they wanted to report this. Then also, I remember a few years ago, my previous chapter at FAU was from 2008 to 2013. I was here for 5 years, and during then I worked with the medical library for a bit, the Medical College of Medicine. And when they were undergoing an accreditation, we had to give them a list of how many books we had in our collection, what was the number of items we had in our whole library, what journals did we have, what databases. They even wanted to know how many study spaces we had available. True. So we were able to provide that to them. And of course, they got their accreditation and kept going. So definitely let us know if you need help with that and getting that vital information for your accreditation needs. Then going to the school level, if you have a new program proposal for a new major or program, you can contact us about that. I understand that you have an application process in which you follow like Board of Governors forms and regulations and so forth. And they often will ask about collections as well. Back in my first chapter of FAU, I worked with a professor in the Department of Physics because she wanted to create a medical physics program. So I was able to initiate with my collection management head an overview of our collections that we had. So that way she can get the certification that she needed and get her proposal passed.
So many different aspects to what can happen from the library.
Yes, I mean, when I first did this presentation, I thought, well, I wish we were just one lump, subject librarians do all of these and, instead of 2 different things. But what we do really is multifaceted.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have many working parts, when you think about it. So, I mean, most people just see our public face and the books that we have in the building, but there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes with the library.
Absolutely.
We have 7 people that you can contact. These are the subject librarians that we have here. Ken Frankel, my supervisor, works with the Colleges of Education and Design and Social Inquiry. Bruce does a lot of work with the College of Business, as well as Tom O'Brien on the lower left there. Sherry does a lot of work with arts and letters. Larry also does a lot of arts and letters and design and social inquiry. So we're all assigned different areas, departments and colleges as well. And then Ben Franklin, well, he's not technically a subject librarian, but he was a librarian.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he really was. Last presentation I did, I had, what was his name?
Oh.
Marion Turkle?
Yes, yeah.
Also,
Yeah, Marion.
also known as John Wayne. Marion the librarian.
Yeah,
So just a little library humor there.
And I love your phrase, embed one in your course. That's
Oh,
great.
Yes, and we can work with your course.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes. Let's see, I am embedded in a nursing class right now where the students are getting to know the introduction to the profession, I think it is. So I have a presence online. They have my contact information if they want to get a hold of me.
Nice.
I was able to embed some things on that class page and so forth.
Excellent.
So that's just like an example. Me and Lori work with the chemistry and biochemistry and chemical literature course on, I think, 2 or 3 sessions where the professor wants the students to really know about chemical and biochemistry information sources. So those are just some of the examples of the things that we do and the breadth of subject areas that we cover as well.
Am I correct, Kristi? And I don't know if you mentioned it, we also have workshops, and sometimes we have professors who will ask us to do a specific workshop that maybe we've done before, maybe they have an idea for, and we can present it just to their class as well as ones that we do for the general public.
Yes, we do have these scheduled workshops throughout the semester on various topics related to using the library. Sometimes we may have topics on subject-specific sources like PubMed or Web of Science. Sometimes we have topics that have to do with using information for academic purposes, like fake news was one that we had. And then we also have APA boot camp. So we will do these for classes as well. So they're not limited to just what we schedule throughout the semester, but by request, we can do these for your course as well. Then I'll introduce the departmental liaisons that we have. There is some overlap, like for instance, Bruce is the departmental liaison for business as well as one of the subject specialists and so forth, and Sherry does arts and letters. But these are going to be the 13 librarians that we have as departmental liaisons at this time. You can contact them if you have questions about the collection, or you'd like to request a title, or if you have any other questions about the collection itself, including open education resources and other related topics as well. So to make a request for assistance and services, you can go to the library homepage. The Instruction Engagement Department does have a departmental webpage that you can see all of our services. And on that, well, actually, on that page, we don't have a link to the direct link, but we'll have to do something like that. But nonetheless, though, we do have a link to a page for the subject librarians.
We have, you're talking about from the Instruction and Engagement Department page?
It goes to Library Liaison page that goes to a link with both.
Right.
Yeah, so not directly to the subject.
Right.
But for collection management, they also have their own departmental page, and on that page is a link to the departmental liaison, so you can get in touch directly with your librarian. So if you have any additional questions, you can contact the FAU Libraries, and you can also keep updated on the Center for E-Learning's new workshops and videos that they have. I'd like to thank you for attending. If you have any questions, I open the floor, and also here in the studio audience, we have Judy Summers and Lori Rebar, a librarian and an instructor who might also be able to talk a little bit about this as well.
And you were going to show us some things from the website.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, and I'll show you some things from the website as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the web browser here. So here's an example of a LibGuide that we have. This is the Latin American Studies Guide that was created for a particular course and program. It's like a Pathfinder that is a guide that connects students and library users to recommended information sources. in this example, we go to books and other sources that we have in print on various aspects of Latin American literature and other related topics as well. We also provide some information about some websites that could be useful. You know, these are more educational websites as well that the librarians looked at and evaluated. And then like links to the tutorials that we have that will help people navigate the library better. These are all of our video tutorials that we currently have on one page here. Then here's our list of our subject librarians that we have. We have them categorized by subject. For this quick example of anthropology, we have 2 librarians assigned to work with that, but we do have a primary librarian identified, which is Lori Rebar, and then Ken would be like the backup as well. So that's an example of how we have multiple librarians assigned to a particular subject.
Could you scroll down on that page so we can see the different topics?
Sure. In this drop-down menu, I
Oh
don't
my
know if this
gosh.
appears well, how well it appears on your end.
Yeah.
But those are the various subject areas that we have available, where we have librarians assigned to work with them. Let's see, I think I'll go to, say, English, for instance. Like that. So since English is a pretty big program, especially with ENC 1101 and 02 that everyone has to take, we have 3 librarians that are assigned to work with that area. And then this page itself also has the list, just a broad list of everyone that we have. As you can see, I'm the primary subject librarian for biochemistry and biological sciences. This page also includes information about the contact information for each of the librarians.
Kristi, would that be especially important if somebody wanted to schedule a one-on-one consultation? Yes, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation directly with the librarian. We also have an online form where you could submit a request as well. These pages have the email as well as the phone number for the librarians. And then each link is an active working link as well. So I'll try mine, for instance. You can see where my office is located as well if you want to visit. And that's how I look like. So that's how I look. So. And get some background information. I know that it's always nice for us to see what faculty's interests are and their education, et cetera. So
Sure, yes. And some of us have information about our education, our publication and research interest. Yep. And then you can see if you're going to work with if there's someone that works in your area or your topic of interest, for sure. All right, so I'll go back to, now I'm going to go to the collection management page. That's going to be the department that works with our liaison, our departmental liaisons here. Just to show you a couple things quickly on the collection management page. On the left, we have forms and requests. And here's where you could request materials in our material suggestion form. So here we just ask you to submit some basic information about what you'd like to see purchased as well, what formats that you may request, and information about the book or the item that you wish to have us purchase. So that's the material suggestion form, and then if you want to request a streaming video, this is like a movie request form that you can fill out, which is very similar if you want us to get a movie available through the digital campus movie search and embed that on your Canvas page. All these cool tricks.
Yes, you have. We always learn about new things and new approaches and new ways that you support the faculty, and that's what's really amazing.
Yes.
Kristi, you'd shown in the tutorials and videos, you'd shown some of the videos, and I noticed there are a couple of workshops that were recorded. Am I correct that any of those workshops that are recorded also have a option at the end of them for students to take a quiz and get a certificate? So if a faculty member wanted to use that for an extra credit, they could do that with their students?
There is, yes. Let's see. This is all of ours. Okay. This APA boot camp that we have here, for instance, well, this is from the July 12th recording, but this is an actual recording of the APA boot camp that we provide every semester and sometimes multiple times.
Yeah.
We started this because we had a lot of requests, especially from the partner campuses, from students who wanted to attend these workshops. So we just thought we would try to do this live streaming on YouTube and then make the archive or the recording available. So what we have, I'm just going to go into the video here real quick. So we have the presentation as it was this past July. I'm just going to mute it real quick here. So here, for instance, Lori does go into the APA boot camp here in the content, just as it would be in the actual workshop. And at the end, we do have a link to a quiz that students can take. It's like a very brief 5-item quiz, and they can get a certificate of completion as a proof of doing it. So we have that for multiple workshops. We have it for APA boot camp. We have one for Library Research 101, which is a basic introduction to the library. We also have one on the literature review as well. So we do have some recorded workshops that students can attend and also get credit for viewing. And just real quick, I'm going to go to the Instruction Engagement Services page here. On this page, you can make a request for instruction. We can go to the instruction services for the Boca Raton campus on the page. For people who are at the partner campuses, they can contact their campus library directly for instruction services and consultations and the like. But on this page, we have some information about the library instruction, and here's a form that you can fill out to request library instruction for your class. This is our workshop page. You can see what workshops we have to offer throughout the semester. The research consultation is where students can meet with the subject specialist librarian. Like I said earlier, students have the option to directly contact a librarian, or they can schedule a consultation, or they can make a request. And then faculty can have an orientation as well. Even if they're not new, even if they've been here for a while and want a refresher, it's not just for the new people or FAU.
You're always updating things too.
Yes, the information sources that we have that we do provide access to are constantly updating. We are constantly schooling ourselves in using
it must be hard to keep up with everything.
It's a workout.
Yes.
It's a workout.
Yes. And the physical changes to the library.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the changes that we're trying to do with the space and the collections, yes. So those were the main web pages I wanted to show you all so that you can see where to go.
While you're still there, could you show them the how to get to the liaisons or the subject librarians from that page, the instruction services page on the left?
Yeah, on the left-hand side, we have a link to library liaisons here. And so that we addressed both the subject librarians as well as the departmental liaisons. We put it on that page so that people can go directly to those pages that we just showed here. So we got a link to the subject librarians and then the departmental liaisons by their area of specialization. Okay, so I don't know if we've had any questions.
I haven't seen anything come up. Anybody in the audience, in the group, please, if you have something that you'd like to ask Kristi or something that came to your mind while you were listening to her, please put it in the chat or raise your hand, and Daniel will be able to comment.
So I've been having some problems here. I actually haven't been able to do anything on here, so I just technical difficulties.
Okay,
Reach out
so
to them.
technical difficulties, so they've not been able to post anything then?
Well, I can't do anything myself, like it's just not responding.
Okay,
But-
all right. So, as you know, these things happen. And we appreciate your hanging in there and being in here with us. Kristi, as always, this has been another wonderful session.
Thank you.
And full of information that we all need, and we all need to think about and realize that you're there for us.
Well, thank you very much. If you have any questions, you know where to find us.
Yes, and Kristi's email is right on the screen right now. So if you were not able to get a question posted, you're certainly welcome to do that, with either to Kristi or to any of us in the Center for E-Learning, or Laurie. You know Laurie's email too, LREBAR. And so we are glad to respond. Lisa, I see a question mark by Lisa's name. Can you unmute her, or no? Okay.
I wonder if I can.
If she could probably type in the chat, maybe you guys can read
I can't.
the chat.
Okay. So Lisa, if you have a question, put it in the chat, or send it to us. Thank you.
Now we can reach out to her through email.
Yeah, anybody who has a question or wants to make a comment, or anything, any comments about this, because this is one of the areas that most of us are not aware of, available to us in the library, one of the many areas that we are not aware of. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to Kristi or to any of us. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here with us.
Okay, thank you.